Hello, I'm Lynn Gillespie, organic farmer and creator of the Abundance Garden course. We are here today to teach you about the high performance garden characteristic number 4, which is very little time. We have been learning about starting our seeds indoors, and now it's time to set them out into the garden. If we take a little care and harden them off and get them ready for the outdoor environment before we plant them in the garden, we will have a lot better luck getting them to live and thrive. So let's talk about sunburn. Have you ever gone outside on a spring day in your shorts and sunburned the heck out of your legs? Well, that exact same thing happens to our plants. When they're indoors, they're not used to the UV rays. We take them outside, we plant them, and they turn white and then they die. So I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that. So in order to prevent that, what we want to do is harden off our plants. And as far as I know, they haven't made any sunscreen for plants, so we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. So it takes 4 to 7 days to properly harden off a plant that has been either grown in the house or even the ones that you buy at the nursery and bring home to your garden. So let's take a look at an ideal hardening off schedule for your plants. Okay, here's an ideal hardening off schedule, so follow it the best that you can. So on day 1, you want to set the plants out in an area that is free of wind and warm, above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And the plants, put them in a place where they'll only get 2 hours of sunlight. The plants can stay out as long as it is warm, wind-free, but then make sure after the 2 hours that they're in the shade. You want to be sure to check the water frequently, as the plants have a tendency to dry out fast when they're set outdoors. Okay, on day 2, set the plants out for 3 hours in the sunlight and a slight breeze, and be sure that the temperature is still warm. On day 3, set the plants out in the sun for 4 hours and see if you can find a breezy area, but you still want them out during the warmth of the day. On day 4, set the plants out for 5 hours in the sunlight and a light breeze, but not windy, and set them out earlier in the day so they get some cool air. On day 5, you want to leave the plants out all day long in the breeze and in the sun, but you want to be sure to check the water. The plants may need to be watered more than once a day. A nice way to get around this is I put my plants in a shallow dish of water and just let them wick up all the water they want during the day. On day 6, you can leave the plants out all day and all night if it is above freezing, so they should be fairly tough by now. On day 7, the plants are ready to plant in the garden, but if a frost is predicted during the next 7 days, make sure that you cover your plants. Now, if you are working and can't follow the hardening off schedule, there are shortcuts, but the plants may be at risk depending on what the weather does. So let's take a look at shortcut number 1. Okay, we're going to start with shortcut number 1. This is one that I had to start doing because I had way too many plants to put out, and for the greenhouse production, it was hard to get everything hardened off like I wanted to. So what I did is I invented little mini greenhouses. You can see this is just a piece of woven wire that we cut and bent into a greenhouse shape. And then I just take that and I set it over the plants. This is a couple broccoli plants. Push that down. Now if I just want shade for the plants, I put my shade cloth on like this, and then I just take my clothespins because the wind always blows here. And I just clothespin this on. Now this won't protect the plants from any frost, but this is going to stop the wind and the sun from cooking my plants. So the first day I would put it on there solid, and probably the first 2-3 days, and then I could take this off and put it on like halfway so that they would get half sun throughout the day. So I could clip that like that. Then once we get to day 7, then I could take that completely off. Now, if I'm going to get frost, or it's going to get cold or too rainy, I can add a layer of plastic to it. And it's the exact same thing. I can either have the plastic on with the shade cloth or without. Just clothespin that on. And so this gives me lots of options for protecting my plant, because I got to watch out for too much sun, too much wind, and too cold. And so there you go. It's just a little mini greenhouse. Comes right off, and it's a great way to harden off your plants, and a great protector. Okay, let's go on to shortcut number 2. Okay, here's shortcut number 2. This is what's called a wall of water. These are amazing things. They are a plastic sheet with these little pockets in between that you fill full of water, and they protect your plant when you plant them out. So basically the way it works is you get a bucket, you're going to set that in your garden, you're going to put the wall of water around it, and then you're going to get your garden hose. You're going to pop these open and you're going to fill a little bit on this side and then do one on the opposite side. I learned that the hard way. You need to kind of do opposites so it doesn't fall over. Okay, and you want to go around and you want to fill all these up at least 2/3 to 3/4 of a way. The lower down the water, the more the top will close and the more protection you're going to get from frost. But I've seen these things protect the plants down, 24, 25 degrees, because the water it'll take in the heat from the sunlight during the day. These are great for tomatoes and peppers if you want to get them out early before the frost is passed. Once in a while you get a frost that you don't expect, so these are great for that too. Okay, round and round we go. Okay, so once you get mostly the way around, then you just want to take your bucket out, and that's going to collapse down in like that to protect the plant. And so then you just dig your hole and put your plant right in the center. So it's a really great way to protect your plants. But once you take this off, you're done for the season, you pull that off, then the plant's going to need hardening off a little bit. So you need to be careful about when you pull that off, and you may have to put some shade cloth on the plant, because this acts just like a greenhouse, which will protect the plant from the UV rays. The other thing you got to watch about these is if you get a wind, once in a while they'll go over on you. And so you want to just make sure that you get the base nice and wide so that it can take the wind. Okay, this other one that I have here, it's kind of along the same idea but a little different model. This is called an Aquadome, and this also you just fill the dome with the water, and it gives the plant the same protection because the water will absorb the heat during the day. One of the things you need to be sure that you do is to put a little bit of chlorine bleach in it, or the water in there will get algae grown in it and it'll turn green. So you may have to bleach it just a couple of times. So it works in the same fashion. You just put it around your plant. It's going to protect your plant from the cold and from the wind. And then when you get done with your Aquadome for the season, okay, that's full. When you take that off the plant, then your plant is also going to need just a little bit of hardening off from the sun. So use your shade cloth to protect it from the sun. So anyhow, that's shortcut number 2. Let's go to shortcut number 3. So shortcut number 3 is the most riskiest. And what that is you're just going to watch the weather forecast, and you're going to look for 3 or 4 or 5 cloudy days in a row. And you're going to go ahead and plant your plants out, hope that it's rainy and cloudy and not windy, and they're just on their own to see how they do. Now here in Colorado, where we have such intense sun because of our elevation, we can even burn our plants on a cloudy day. So it doesn't work too good for us here at our elevation. But some of you people along the coast where you know that you're going to have a week's worth of cloudy days, you can watch the forecast, go ahead and plant your plants out, and then hope the forecast doesn't change. So that's shortcut number 3, very, very risky. But there is one other thing that I want to show you, and it is our easy trellis, and this is what we use in our abundance garden to protect our plants. And so we're going to go over to one of the abundance gardens and take a look at the easy trellis. Okay, here we are in our abundance garden, and I want to show you what we're using to protect our plants. So we can use this when we first put them out, or we can use it throughout the season depending on the wind, the sun, and the temperatures. So this is our easy trellis. This is made out of PVC pipe, no tools required, so awesome. If you want the instructions for this, you can go to our website, www.thelivingfarm.org. So if I'm out in my garden and I need shade protection, I just put my trellis together, and then I'm just going to put my shade cloth right over the top of this. And the one thing that I will want to do when I'm outside is to make sure that I have some blocks or bricks, and I can put some blocks or bricks down to hold this because the wind will come and take it off. So that's how we do our shade protection. So if I'm doing the shortcuts, I would put this on for the first 3 days, and then half a day on day 4 or 5, and then probably off by day 6. Now if I'm having cold weather, then I just take a blanket. These happen to be the heavy frost blankets that we buy for the greenhouses. But you can use, use the blanket off your bed. Use your bed cover, anything like that. You could use a couple towels. The nice thing about the Easy Trellis is it keeps the material up off the plants, because when the material's on the plants, then it's going to squish them. Okay, so then I can put this cover on at night, and what this cover will do is protect it from frost. And then if I'm going to get a snowstorm or something like that, then I can take a piece of plastic and cover this with a piece of plastic. So I have all the ways to protect from wind, sun, and the cold, and this is a great system. The other beautiful thing about these Easy Trellises is when I'm ready to trellis my tomatoes up tall, if you look behind us, that's set up for the peas to go up. It has legs to extend it so that it can get a lot taller. So anyhow, if you're interested in building your own Easy Trellis, go to the website. It's a great system, and you can get the instructions. They're up there for free.